go live button. Let me just quickly check if we're actually live on YouTube as well and Twitter, and then maybe just a couple of seconds until folks are joining in across different platforms. One more second to refresh this. And yeah, we are officially live, and that's good. So without further ado, hello everyone. Welcome to today's community call. I'm Robert, a developer advocate at the StarkNet Foundation, and I will be your host for today. We're excited to have Henri, Head of Developer Relations at the StarkNet Foundation and co-organizer of Le Fête du SNIP, Elias, co-CTO, CEO, and founder of Kakarot, and Nathan, co-organizer of Le Fête du SNIP, as our invited speakers for this session. Our focus for today's discussion is the SNIP party debrief, where we'll cover what was discussed during the SNIP party, or should I say Le Fête du SNIP, and future events. For our viewers, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the YouTube chat section and the X or Twitter, and we'll do our best to address them. Welcome, Henri. Welcome, Elias and Nathan. How are you all doing, and what have you been up to recently?
Thank you for hosting us, Robert. Look, so far, I've been away for a bunch of time. I'm really sorry. It's holidays time. I was on holiday for 2 weeks, and I'm catching up with work.
Now we know that Kakarot has mass appeal potential, you know. I'm not sure that Henri's son knows that many crypto companies, but Kakarot.
I told him you can get on stage if you get the Kakarot hat, but he found the Starkware hat, so that's fair. That's fine enough. So yeah, what have we been up to? So we held this really cool event around SCC in Brussels last month, which we called La Fête du SNIP party, to be determined how we call those events going forward. I think it's an open question, but mostly it was a day event to get people involved and get started talking about governance for StarkNet. Governance is something that happens everywhere. Whenever decisions are made, there is some sort of governance. And the goal here was to formalize governance on StarkNet and start talking about it more as an object rather than just iterating on things that were done. So we took a bunch of interesting topics that could be talked about and on which we needed to make progresses. And we discussed them for a day, essentially. So yeah, that's what happened at the SNIP party. And I'm really happy to have Nathan and Elias with us today. Nathan helped a lot organize the event, and he has some thoughts on governance. And Elias was very involved throughout the day. Elias, I know you have a lot of things to say about governance. So the goal here is mostly to talk about the process, what happened, what you liked about the SNIP party, what we can make better next time, and when we meet again.
Should I speak to this?
Yeah, go ahead, Elias. Tell us, what did you like? What did you not like? Why did you show up on the call when I say, hey, you want to talk about governance again? And you say, yes, sure. Why are you interested into this?
I mostly like the name of the event. No, I'm kidding. No, I think governance is fun. I think StarkNet's I feel main advantage over other ecosystems is how involved people are. And I think that there are a few things that make people involved. One is a common belief. Another one is maybe skin in the game together. So that's nice. The airdrop is passed and many of the communities involved economically as well. And the last part is feeling like you have impact. So governance is the natural last kind of thing to tackle. And I think it's a healthy next step for ecosystem that has a lot of upgrades to kind of involve the community in the upgrade, to go from kind of a startup-like cycle of Starkware pushing upgrades to a more community-driven, specs-driven upgrade cycle. Kind of try to get best of both worlds. I think we can. And yeah, and what did I like about the SNIP? I actually like that Starkware was so involved. I like that Ilya and Boaz came and that they showed that this is not just because governance can feel a bit like you're playing in your own thing, in your ideal mind of utopia, and it has no impact, is the biggest problem with it. So that's it.
And I think that feeling was shared by them also. They were really happy to see people who wanted to get involved. And we did talk about meaty subject. Nathan, you wanna introduce maybe the topics we discussed and why they were interesting to you?
Yeah, definitely. I think as StarkNet grows, obviously, like Ilya said, it's really it's always a trade-off, right? For it to go from a very efficient process to including more people, and including more people has tons of benefits, but it only works if it's done really well. If people kind of bring out the best out of what they're researching, and they feel heard on the other side. So I'm not surprised as someone like Elias, who has a big stake in the ecosystem, big voice in the ecosystem, really enjoys events like these, because these are really where you get to shape the future of the network that you're working on. And obviously, like, Starknet is still a very, very young network. There's still a lot to work on, but subjects that we talked about, like the Security Council, are key to the future of Starknet, right? Like the very basic mechanisms of security that make Starknet an integrity web. I think Security Council is definitely one of these, right? You want something very, very of high quality that gets community buy-in and that gets community member involved in at the very root of Starknet. So this was a topic, tons of topics really.
And I think the Security Council was definitely the meat of the discussion for the day, right? I mean, there were 4 different aspects of setting up a Security Council for Starknet that were discussed. Each of them, I think, led to a sort of a proto-SNIP, right? Which you wrote, Elias, and posted on the forum. But all of those aspects were discussed throughout the day. And thanks to those discussions, we'll hopefully soon have a proper SNIP to move forward with this. And I can talk a little bit maybe about the timeline. I think this thing came together pretty quickly after before the actual event, but we should hope to see the first result of this by the end of the year, and then further steps and further development on Security Council matters after that again. So this is a very tangible impact. It really kickstarted something, and there's discussion ongoing on the governance forum for that on that topic. Where are we with the SNIPs, by the way, Elias? You did post 1, 2. What happened?
So there were we did the SNIPs for the Security Council with the help of everyone at the FedUSNIP. This has been aggregated into one big SNIP that I consolidated and posted for review today. So there is V1, kind of not final but reviewable Security Council proposal for Starknet with I think 5 co-authors, which is very cool. People that were here in FedUSNIP, but also people from L2Bit that are helping us move the needle on security. So that's for the Security Council part. Then I think there were others, such as breaking changes on Starknet. And then,
I think that one was posted also, and it's pretty much settled, right? That's I don't know if it was formally accepted, but I know that's the basis for work for all upcoming breaking changes. So this one also was solidified very quickly.
And then there's a few in the pipe. There's a few 8 or 9 SNIPs in the making. I know there's bigger ones by Starkware, such as staking on Starknet, but there are also smaller ones like quality of life changes for syscalls, like the one I posted, getting the class hash as a syscall, stuff like that, just on-chain stuff.
I think there's a lot of things we're figuring out on the fly, right? I mean, feature requests are definitely interesting, but it's a bit, I mean, so far in the roadmap of Starknet, community input is taken, but it's not like the roadmap doesn't start there, which it should in an ideal world. And so getting to the point where we are there will take a bit of time, but it's very valuable to have people formalize their ask and say, hey, this is what we need in a public forum, so then other people can debate on it, and we get a clear insight as to what people want. And then there is indeed core SNIPs ongoing. There's one big SNIP that was shared actually right after La Fête du SNIP, which was the SNIP on staking. So if you're here and you missed the news, staking is coming to Starknet, and there is a big post on the community forum. Okay, I saw the link and I see that there's somebody posted there, and there's a SNIP repo. And so there's a big SNIP on staking, which is worth reading if you're interested on the matter. Things will move quite fast with this one, so do get involved, do voice your opinion now. this is the time to be involved on this. And we'll I'm not going to get into the timeline now because I'm going to get into the timeline next week. Next week on the community call, we'll have Nathan from Starkware to talk about the exact timeline for the SNIP for staking and what to expect on that front. So do tune at that time if you want. So yeah, that's in a nutshell. That's what that's the revival process around SNIP. Where it's still an active work of research, getting people involved, finding out what are the right tools for people to work on. I think that we have a SNIP repo, we have the community forum. There's a lot happening on Telegram. It can be a bit sometimes daunting to know exactly where to start and how to get involved. So all of this is moving quite fast, and we're trying to find a good way to make things work. The one thing we know for sure is that the SNIP party, La Fête du SNIP, was, I think it was a good time, and it was a useful event for all the people who attended. And that's something. And it did lead to tangible outcome. So if you do something and you see that it works, then you should probably do it again. So we want to do more of those events. We want to get more people who care about Starknet governance to talk about future upgrades and how to ship them. And so I can say already that we're going to do one around DEF CON in November in Thailand, right? So the Starknet team is going to be present in Thailand for DEF CON, and we're going to be doing an event to be determined the exact date, but we should have a proper date very soon. And we'll do a number of those events where we'll discuss important matters. We'll discuss how we make collectively decisions to move the network forward. So if you're around, be there. We'd love to have you there. Quick poll here. Do you think we should call these things La Fête du SNIP, the SNIP party, or something else? Because like governance day, I'm sorry, Nathan, it sounds a bit boring. But then SNIP party gives another idea because you think, oh, it's a party. Of course I'm going to register, even if you don't have an intention to go. So how do we name those things? What it is exactly we're doing?
Yeah, I think it's always right. I'm a big believer of inside jokes as sense makers in this space, right? And SNIP Party is definitely, it's funny. It's got a lot of appeal, and I think a lot of people just decided, all right, I'm going to check it out because it wasn't called Super Boring Governance Day. So I'm glad that it wasn't called Super Boring Governance Day. Maybe we can find more inclusive jokes that work in more languages than French. But for the moment, I think it's a good name. At least, as long as I don't hear a funnier one, I think La Fête du SNIP is pretty decent. But yeah, and there's also I wanted to say, obviously, like this feels very geographical right now. You had to be in Brussels in November. You'll have to be in Thailand to participate. But obviously, like governance isn't like that, and I think the strength of decentralized networks is that you don't have to be geographically somewhere to have your voice heard or participate. So we'll definitely find very good ways. I think for the first one, we really wanted to focus on like a personal experience for the people that were there. But for the next ones, I think having a bigger component of outside participation can be really, really cool for people that can come.
I fully agree on that. I think that it's we took the opportunity of having a bunch of people in the same place to say, hey, let's get together. And Starknet has a big in real life component to it also. A lot of its lore and history happened in real life. So that's why it felt like a good move. But I fully agree that it's not enough. We can't be satisfied with just having the people who are in Brussels or have the means to go to Brussels or to Thailand decide on the fate of Starknet. So and I think having this kind of calls also online helps. I'm happy because I see that there's a lot of people in the chat actually making jokes. I see that Christophe from L2Bit is here. Would love to have more of those discussions live. And it's definitely one of the goals also. We have a bunch of, as mentioned, we have a bunch of SNIPs who are cooking. Next week, we're going to be presenting and discussing the one on staking. Elias, when the SNIP on the Security Council is ready, let's do the same thing.
Yeah, I think definitely for meta SNIPs such as Security Council, it's really cool to do it a lot IRL, but also online, and keep the topic hot. And then for feature snip, I think what we might need is some kind of strong buy-in from Starkware to kind of reverse the upgrade, like get closer probably to what L1 is doing, such as every X amount of time. Maybe it can be shorter because Starkware is more like startup driven and moves fast, which is good for us as the community. But this idea that every now and then you pick a set of snips from the pool and you implement them. This is exactly what L1 calls like the hot fox, right? So I think this would really help, because then the Starkware team just would have to write snips instead of just writing technical specifications of their new upgrades. So for them, it's just where do they post the same thing, because they still need to specify what they're doing. And then for the community, it's a good way to just say, okay, guys, I see that you're pushing 4 changes. Could you add mine as well? And then maybe if there's a 5th slot for the community, then this is a good way to kind of include feature snips. Because for now, I see that lots of snips are SRCs, so just standards, or meta snips. Not so many of them are feature snip. And I think this is my dream for 2025. I will give it time. And I know it can't be instantaneous. We're starting small. So meta snips that don't have impact on the protocol, or SRCs, which are just standards for the community. And then later on, we can go forward for a feature. But this is kind of my dream, like a monthly Starknet all core dev. And then Ilya being, okay, guys, which snips are we putting into this upgrade? And then everyone speaks and we do a bit of governance together. That would be fun.
I know that somewhere Nico Consigny is very happy with the Starknet all core devs idea.
So there's actually an old core dev Starknet call that is starting, but it's more on the infrastructure side. I know the people who are working to write Node software. So I know Nevermind is in it, Kazar Lab is in it, Starkware is in it. They're all gathering to discuss this kind of stuff and work related to Node. So it's not exactly core thing. I don't want to say anything stupid, but I know they've been working on a lot on P2P, for example, lately. So they there'll be a so they are starting this thing, which I'm really grateful if they are. Okay, I can handle one, but not the second one.
Maybe in the meanwhile, I can ask a question, or and I'm curious more from Eliad's side, since I believe 2 weeks ago you approved the PR on SNIP 1, and you kind of like announced that you will start assisting with the governance in the broader Starknet community. So maybe for the audience, what would you recommend if they're interested in contributing to the Starknet ecosystem overall?
With regards to governance, I guess
Yes.
I think right now it's very easy, because it's not yet at the point of I don't know. L1 feels very complicated because there's people working on it for 10 years. Everyone kind of knows each other, and even then it's not so hard. All the links are public, you can join. But on Starknet, because the governance process is at its infancy, it's very easy to jump in. So if you're like more hands-on, more dev, you just go on GitHub, you find the snips repo, and very likely in the open snips, the ones that are draft, there's something that is about you somehow, as a user or as a dev. Moody from Ekubo just posted a snip about like royalties on tokens. So this will probably involve you as a user. There's a snips for sign in with Starknet. There's so many things you can get involved to. And then it will allow you to meet new people, have impact. It's fun. And if you're more on advocacy and so on, just go on the forum. The staking proposal is probably the best way to start today, because you're going to have impact on what percentage of inflation does Starknet have. If you're interested in economics, this is so fun. Like literally, you're going to post something, debate, and in 1 year, when you click on stake on your wallet, this is you. You will get 2% or 10% yield because of what you did. So I think it's overwhelmingly fun. And because Starknet is at infancy, the impact is tenfold. In Ethereum all-core dev call, there's like 100 people, and you won't get a word in. Here, there's much less. So I would encourage anyone to just go in.
Yeah, I think that's a great answer.
Fantastic. And then, okay, so that's super helpful, I guess, for the attendees. And I've posted some links in the chat. So Overall, I think the SNIP party was a success. Maybe we could discuss more what the future might hold. You mentioned, Henri, that there will be something around DEF CON. So are there any?
So no, you're right. So future next steps. And then, the goal of the call was to make a broad debrief and explain to people what it is we're working on. We don't have to stick for the whole hour for the community call, so we can wrap it up with this. But like next steps, as I mentioned, we're gonna do a live event in real life around DEF CON. If you want to get involved, you can already tell me, hey, I want to be involved. Reach out. We're looking for help. The more people we need, the more people who want to talk about good stuff, the more the more the merrier. And you can help both on, hey, I think this topic needs to be addressed, and you can give an idea for a topic. You can say, hey, I think you should structure your discussion this way, use this cool methodology or that cool tool so that people can follow online or that you get better result. Or you can also say, hey, I've been to governance days before, and every 20 minutes we would do a 5-minute breaks where we do yoga and massage each other. I don't know, but anything that you saw worked well and you think will lead to better result is welcome. Do help us. So do get involved. And so that's for the in real life component. Now, in terms of the actual SNIPs that were discussed, the breaking change SNIP that was discussed during the SNIP party is online. You can comment on it, but it's going to be activated very soon. There's not going to be a vote on it. The staking SNIP is going to be discussed next week during this call, and do show up if you want to figure out how it's going to be shipped. Security Council SNIP, Elias is going to be pushing stuff on the community forum and on GitHub, so get involved and talk on those ones. We'll probably do another call around the end of August to explore what will be implemented in the short term, in the midterm, and in the long term. And that's just for those 3 specific SNIPs. So most of the discussion will happen on the community forum. And in the meanwhile, also, if you have suggestions on how we can structure discussion online so that people get involved and have fun discussing those cutting-edge matter, let us know. We want to make things better, and we're all in this together. So yeah, I think that's what the next steps would be.
Fantastic. And I think regarding the breaking changes, next week we're going to have another community call where we'll kind of like address this in more detail. So for those who are curious about this, next week, I believe on Thursday, or no, actually Wednesday, we'll announce the date and we'll discuss this.
So in the chat, Chris is saying more calls, regular calls. Chris, what is the right frequency for those calls? How often should we be talking about this? Because I'll be honest, this is new to us, and I don't want to hold people up and take their time if we don't have much to discuss. What's the right frequency? Okay, let's do a Telegram group with delegate Gov participant. This is gold. Really good idea. Love it.
Yeah. I think the other question is obviously like, what kind of calls? Is it a call where tons of people come in and all have a chance to speak? Is it a community call where we give updates about what is going on?
Elias says 1 time a month at first, like roll call.
Yeah.
I'm down, man. That's good.
Yeah, sure. But I agree. Like, I think La Fête du SNIP, sorry. La Fête du SNIP was really good about like trying to get everyone, trying to get like a good layer 0 basis going. And now we got to take this and make it something more regular where people that showed that they were willing to be involved get a chance to actually influence stuff like Elias was saying.
All right. So I guess we have our next meeting set up. Next week, we discuss the SNIP staking one, and then before September, we'll do another call, and we'll aim for once a month at the beginning.
Fantastic. And yeah, Elias is saying once a month, but needs someone who has to push button to include SNIPs and starting updates.
Yeah, agree. No point in talking if it's all talk and no pushing.
Fantastic.
Nice.
Not sure if we want to wrap up the call or not. We could keep discussing as well. But yeah, if there's any closing remarks that you want to address to the attendees of the call.
All right. No No further comment on there. I'm seeing Christoph is also again laying gold in the comment. Can we have an overview of the ecosystem programs in StarkNet? For sure, we'll do this. We'll do this soon. I know we've done a bunch of talks at StarkNet CC talking about this, so I'll share those. But yeah, you're right. Having an overview of ecosystems programming in StarkNet makes sense. And then let's do something more open so that more people can join. Fair enough. I think that's good. All right.
Okay, have a good one.
Elias, Nathan, thank you for joining.
Thank you.
Robert, thank you for hosting. I'll see you soon.
Thank you for joining the Comic Con. Bye.
Yeah.